Hello, good evening, and welcome to Business Live. Happy holiday to all of you out there. My name is Beverly Broohm. Coming up, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urges Ghana and other governments to tax oil and gas companies more following record profits on the back of surging crude prices.
It's immoral for oil and gas companies to be making record profits from this energy crisis on the back of the poorest people and communities, and at a massive cost to the climate.
Also, LPG Marketers Association and Operator Association's call of strike.
We, the LPG Marketing Companies Association of Ghana, welcome government decision to lift the ban on construction of LPG retail outlets across the country. We are by this statement calling off the industrial action commenced on Monday, August 1st, 2022, with immediate effect.
Plus, Ghana Cedi challenge might not be over soon as dollar's value continue to strengthen on the international market. This and more in the next 30 minutes. Please stay. Thanks for staying with us here on Business Live. Now to our first story. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is urging government of Ghana and other governments around the world to increase taxes on oil and gas companies. His call is coming on the back of record profits made by these companies as crude oil prices surge on the world market. Speaking from his base in New York, USA, Mr. Guterres maintained that it will be appropriate to share the profits with countries that host oil and gas companies.
It's immoral for oil and gas companies to be making record profits from this energy crisis on the back of the poorest people and communities, and at a massive cost to the climate. The combined profits of the largest energy companies in the first quarter of this year are close to $100 billion. I urge all governments to tax these excessive profits and use the funds to support the most vulnerable people through these difficult times. And I urge people everywhere to send a clear message to the fossil fuel industry and their financiers that this grotesque greed is punishing the poorest and most vulnerable people while destroying our only common home, the planet. Every country is part of this energy crisis, and all countries are paying attention to what others are doing. There is no place for hypocrisy. Developing countries don't lack reasons to invest in renewables. Many of them are living with the severe impact of the climate crisis, including storms, wildfires, floods, and droughts. What they lack are concrete, workable options. And meanwhile, developed countries are urging them to invest in renewables without providing enough social, technical, or financial support. And some of those same developed countries are introducing universal subsidies at gas stations, while others are reopening coal plants. It is difficult to justify such steps, even on a temporary basis.
Let's get on Zoom and speak to energy economist Theo Echampong. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Are you surprised by this call, or it's in the right direction?
Good afternoon or good evening, and pleasure to be here. I think I've seen a number of these calls being made over the last couple of months from various quarters but they do rather seem populist in my view, and not really driven by the underlying realities. And I'll explain that for a moment. So what are these windfall taxes? It's basically a company benefiting from a one-off activity that otherwise they had not anticipated. So because of the war in Ukraine, oil prices went up, commodities prices went up, and subsequently the companies are earning excessive or supernormal profits. However, many of these companies also have signed contracts with the respective countries and where the oil is being extracted from, which have often rigid provisions around the stabilization provisions. So what this means is that it's actually going to be extraordinarily very difficult to want to change the tax structure and or use the legal means in an attempt to collect a little bit more money from them because prices have gone up. So the reality is that although we want to, and people are advocating for such windfall taxes, it is actually far more complicated to implement them than would actually be the case. And even in the UK, where the Treasury imposed 25p, they call it energy surcharge levy for these companies, in the same breath, they were actually giving them a number of giveaways in order to be able to sustain investment. So I think the call, I see where it's coming from, but it can actually be populist and far more away from what the reality, and it's very complicated in terms of being able to actually implement such a tax.
But tell me, these companies are already paying taxes, like the corporate tax. So if the profits increase, automatically what they pay to the state will go up. Is that not the case?
Absolutely. So what happens is that typically, let me use the oil and gas sector as an example, the upstream sector. The companies would pay some royalties, and then there would be other profit-related taxes. So for example, your corporate income tax that you mentioned, there's also some additional windfall taxes. In Ghana, we have the additional oil entitlement, which is based on the profitability of a field and profitability of a company. So automatically within the contractual provisions, there are mechanisms to be able to enjoy from the upside if prices go up. And likewise, if prices go down, those mechanisms within the contract system should self-adjust. But it doesn't happen in some instances because of the deductions and the depreciation schedules that the companies would be subject to. So if the tax system is actually well designed and it's working well, you don't need any windfall tax at all because that will take care of itself. And inherently, what this is telling us is that in some jurisdictions, there are challenges with the design of the tax system. And so a knee-jerk reaction where you just want to impose a windfall tax because you think prices have gone up would not fundamentally resolve the issue. And then there's the additional complication of the legality or otherwise of such a move.
Come back to your first response. So if the host country is making this much money, wouldn't it benefit the country rather?
If the host country should be making and benefiting because the prices have gone up, then of course you would expect the revenues also to go up. So let's use Ghana as an example,
okay.
Where in the 2022 budget, we were putting in an oil price assumption of about $62 or so a barrel. Currently today, we're talking about $93 a barrel. The revenue projection by the government then was that we'll be making about $1 billion of revenues from 3 fields. As we speak currently for half year, we had made almost about $780 or so million. And most likely by the end of this year, if prices still stay high, we would actually have been making...
We seem to be losing Mr. Champong there. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
In 1
Unfortunately, the line dropped. Now, let's move on to our subsequent stories now. The Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Marketing Companies Association of Ghana has called off its sit-down strike with immediate effect. According to the association, it took the decision after Cabinet lifted a 5-year ban on the construction of new LPG stations at its 35th sitting held on Wednesday, August 3, 2022. Now speaking at a press briefing, Vice Chairman of the association, Gabriel Kumi, said leaders of the Tanker Drivers Union have been engaged to get back to work.
We, the LPG Marketing Companies Association of Ghana, welcome government decision to lift the ban on construction of LPG retail outlets across the country. We are by this statement calling off the industrial action commenced on Monday, August 1st, 2022, with immediate effect. We are grateful to the good people of Ghana for their tremendous understanding and support. We also wish to thank the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Minister for Energy, the Chief Executive of MPA, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, for reversing a decision that has cost us the lives of some of our members and millions of Ghana citizens. This resolution is without prejudice to our concern about MPA's communication on the lifting of the ban, as we are particularly worried about the lack of details in the statement. It is our earnest expectation that the Ministry of Energy and the MPA will bring all regulatory bodies on board to ensure the smooth implementation of the directive from Cabinet.
Meanwhile, the president for the Tanker Drivers Union, George Nyonu, said they will make a decision on whether to call off their strike or not after an engagement with the Ministry of Energy and the National Petroleum Authority tomorrow.
The LPG marketing operators, they call off the strike because of the lifting of the ban, yes. But we are still sitting down, waiting patiently for tomorrow meeting with the Energy Minister and MPA to resolve the sale, the pending sale, which is taking our drivers out of job. All right, because we put two major things, actually three, but the major ones is the lifting of the ban, which the government listening to us. We clap for him, we appreciate him, we are so grateful to that. Yes, the second one is the tracking device that LPA brought, which is the sale, which we think is taking the drivers out of job. Okay, that has not yet been addressed because the letter issued to us, we haven't seen certain things mentioned in it. So we are waiting patiently. We were thinking maybe tomorrow meeting they will readdress it. All right, so we are waiting. Another one, we are not holding the country for ransom. No, that is not our aim. Yes, but something is bothering us most. And we were thinking, even today being the holiday, as Ghanaians are suffering from getting LPG and other products, our expectation is looking forward that the authorities will even call us today, okay, because it's emergency. It should be a concern to them, all right, that Ghanaians are suffering. They need the product to do their businesses. But lo and behold, the letter we receive indicate clearly that the meeting will be held tomorrow morning. So we say, okay, fine, we are waiting till tomorrow. The reason being is we don't want to call off the strike, and then tomorrow when we get there and they refuse to listen to our second plea, we will come back on the street for Ghanaians to start saying that maybe we are disturbing the public. So we want the issue to be resolved once and for all.
Let's still stay on LPG as retail outlets across the country have started selling to customers. My colleague James Echen has been visiting some outlets and come through with this.
It's a busy day. Most of the retail outlets across the country have started operations. After a few hours, the LPG marketers and operators called off their industrial strike.
We, the LPG Marketing Companies Association of Ghana, welcome government decision to lift the ban on construction of LPG retail outlets across the country. We are by this statement calling off the industrial action commenced on Monday, August 1st, 2022, with immediate effect.
At Avino, cars are parked, drivers anxiously waiting to have their cylinders filled. Station manager Mr. Owusu tells Joy Business it's been a very hectic day.
Yeah, we started selling. Because the situation wasn't done yet, that's why we hold on. But as already been said, we started. The second, so at least we start selling. It will affect, but it won't affect because if they come, we sell. If they don't come and what we have got finished, then we have to wait. So we see what they can do.
The situation isn't different at Alajo, with customers queuing but happy with the strike being called off. Some of these customers are coming from far away to have their cylinders either fixed or filled.
Everything is fine. As you can see, we just went and bought the gas, no problem. But you know, since yesterday, day before yesterday, I found out my gas finished. Then I asked the children to go and buy gas. They said there was no. In fact, I've not cooked in my house since 2 days. We've been eating outside because of gas. So I was so happy when I heard that. A friend called me and said they got gas, so I rushed and now I have gas.
I parked the car for 3 days because I was waiting for the time when they will resume work. Without that, I cannot work, so it affects me.
In truth, it didn't affect me because I had an extra cylinder that I was really depending on, and I think it's fine. Until I think this one had finished, I think about a week ago. And I was anticipating to get it filled, I think on Monday. But when the strike came off, so it had been there. But we've been depending on the other one, which I had at home.
In all of this, the Tanker Drivers Union of Ghana are yet to call off the strike. According to their president, George Yawunu, they're expecting other issues to be resolved by the government. The Tanker Drivers Union on Friday, August 5, 2022, will engage the Ministry of Energy and the National Petroleum Authority.
The LPG marketing operators, they call off the strike because of the lifting of the ban. Yes, but we are still sitting down, waiting patiently for tomorrow meeting with the energy minister and MPA.
So on Monday, this particular refilling gas plant was less busy, but today you could see how busy the place is. It's all because of the Tanker Drivers Association of Ghana embarking on a sit-down strike. On Tuesday, we had the strike being intensified, having the marketers and also operators. But today, they've called off the strike. That has to do with the operators and the marketers. For the Tanker Drivers Association, they are yet to call off their strike. They want to meet the Ministry of Energy and also the NPA to discuss the way forward. So that will be within just 24 hours. Retail outlets are now being asked to start selling to customers. For Joy Business, James Eshen.
Away from that, the Ghana cedi's sharp depreciation against the US dollar might not end anytime soon. This because the US dollar continues to strengthen on the international market. There's more in the following report.
The US dollar has posted some strong appreciation against other major trading currencies over the past month. This is because most investors are turning to that currency due to the current global economic challenges. The dollar's value has increased by more than 10% when compared to its peers on the international market. The same can be said for currencies of emerging markets like Ghana. Another development that has helped the dollar's fortunes is the hikes in the Federal Reserve interest rate. This development has also pulled a lot of offshore investors into the USA market to invest in dollar-backed assets. Some analysts are arguing the problems facing the Ghana cedi may not be ending soon as long as the dollar's value continues to strengthen in the coming weeks. This is despite the current challenge facing the Ghanaian cedi being more than a supply issue. The country's current challenges are mainly about its fundamentals. So yes, a strong dollar will lead to other currencies depreciating, but the margin of that might be lower than what is being witnessed here in Ghana. Analysts say the cedi might have depreciated by more than 20% to the dollar ending July 2022. In all of this, the good news is that Ghana's international reserve position may be improving strongly in the last quarter of 2022.
The Ghana Stock Exchange and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center has signed a landmark memorandum of understanding to attract more local and foreign companies to list on the local bourse. But both parties describe the move as timely as the country aims to open its profitable stock market to all legal businesses across the globe. The following report has more.
Addressing the media at the MOU signing ceremony between the GIPC and the Ghana Stock Exchange, Chief Executive Officer of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, said the partnership seeks to give Ghanaians the opportunity to own part of a global company.
Many of the foreign direct investments that occur in this country create opportunities for listing on the stock market and therefore also give opportunities for Ghanaians to own parts of those companies. And a case in point is Ashanti, MTN. It gives the Ghanaian the opportunity to own part of a global or continental company. And all these were, companies that were set up with foreign direct investments. So as we go forward, we're expecting to see more. There are only 40 companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. We should have 200, 300, 400, 500. So Ghanaians should also, look at the market as a good alternative for raising capital. But not only just that, but also a good opportunity to create wealth.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afezi, highlighted investments in equities as significant to developing the Ghanaian economy.
Going forward as a stock exchange, we'll make sure that we'll piggyback on your diaspora investment desk that you set up. Also to look at the diaspora, that's Ghanaians who are out there, to be able to look back home and invest in equities to help grow our economy. Without investment in equity, it's going to be difficult for the country to develop. Short-term debt and government instruments do not develop countries. Equities, direct investments into real productive sectors, manufacturing, etc. is very, very key, and we'll support GIPC in doing that by way of providing a platform for portfolio investors so that they can get liquidity on this market.
For his part, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, expressed confidence the collaboration between the GIPC and the GSE will help achieve his outfit's initiatives outlined in his 10-year capital market plan.
Great initiatives, and I think that this collaboration between GIPC and GSE would serve well as we work towards achieving the initiatives outlined in the Capital Market Master Plan. GIPC, I know, is well known especially for foreign direct investment, and while the GSE will talk about foreign portfolio investment, I see FDI and FPI as twins. I think they work together, and there's a lot of synergy that can be drawn from the two.
On that note, we end Business Live here on the Joy News channel. Thank you so much for watching. You can visit myjoyonline.com/business for more stories. I am Beverly Broohm.